Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. We are really excited to have you tonight. If you hear me well, please say something in the chat so I can know that everything is good for the sound and you hear me well. If Julien, you can say something. So
Yes.
okay. Yeah. Okay. So all good, all good. Okay. So we have people from all over the world. I see Asia, Europe, America, Australia, France, obviously, a whole bunch. That's really cool. So I wish you spend a good time with your friend and your family during these holidays. Now it's time to get back to business with our first guest of the season, Julien, founder of ProspectWith. I will let you now introduce yourself to the audience.
Okay, nice to meet you all. I'm Julien. I've started ProspectWith.com, which is a company that helps companies target companies. So it's a database of companies. We'll talk about it. And I have many things to share, especially on how you should target your prospects, because I've seen a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I have some tips to improve your targeting.
Yeah, actually, so we'll talk about the technical aspect of databases, etc. And Julien will also give the tips, general tips on how to define your persona as well. So during this presentation, feel free to ask any question in the chat. There is no dumb question, only dumb answers. So really ask anything you want in the chat. You can put it in the question tab or directly in the chat, and I will transfer the question to Julien during the presentation. So I want to start this webinar by asking you a quick question. So I will send a poll to you. Is that what are the other data sources that you use or you need right now? I will send you the poll into the poll tab, which you can answer this question. Okay, so I got a little technical problem here. Okay, no problem. We skip that part. Okay. So basically, I guess some of you would have answered that you need like technologies, company types, web traffic, fundraising data, legal data, or like job boards data. All these type of data are not available on LinkedIn, and it's difficult to do like technology-based targeting on LinkedIn because the technology filter doesn't work. You can select type of business like Saas or e-commerce. You can filter website based on the web traffic they get or the fundraising event. The only cool thing that they added recently is that you can filter companies based on if they're hiring or not. I don't know if you check that, but right now you get like a new filter here, hiring on LinkedIn. So this is the only cool thing they added for the last year, but otherwise you can do anything else. So and what Julien is going to show us today is how to precisely target people and companies based on these criteria like technology, company type, web traffic. For example, with ProspectWith, there is a SaaS filter, a B2B filter or B2C filter, with whom you can filter your searches. I will show you right now what a ProspectWith files look like, so you can have a glimpse on how it looks. So you're going to see that you have many more data points, especially on technology, web traffic, etc. So here you see that so the name, domain, total employees, revenue, year funded, industries, monthly visitors, here the Alexa rank, so this is traffic as well, state, country, continent, technologies here, technological categories, angel lists, Dribble, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, obviously, Pinterest, Twitter as well, if you want to use it as a prospecting channel, and a YouTube if you want to mention that in your prospecting messages. So you get much more data than in Sales Navigator. And now I will let Julien continue and present this tool.
Yes, so I will share the screen. Okay, so just before we start, there are a few things that's important. When you need to target people, there are many websites on the internet, and one of the great sources of data is job offer websites like Glassdoor, for instance. Sometimes you will need to get some information from specific companies, and you should take a look at this website also because they are probably the most up-to-date data on companies. And also sometimes local directories can be a good fit for your business. An important thing is to target. I think I've seen a lot of people prospecting companies, and one of the mistakes they did was to target too broadly. When you're prospecting people, there are three important variables: the targeting, who do you target? The message, how can you make them reply to the email and end up on a demo with you? And the third thing is the channel. The channel is like, do we reach them by email, by phone, by LinkedIn, by Twitter? And these three variables are very important. We will talk on the first one, the targeting.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but someone is asking to put the slide on full screen.
Yes.
So they can see better.
Okay. So let's talk about personas.
All good.
The most important thing is to focus on a few personas. You should not have more than 3 personas or 10 personas when you're starting. The less you have, the better. And it's important to understand that these personas, which will be your prospect, will evolve with your product. Sometimes at the beginning of a product, or a specific persona is the best, and when you add a new feature, when your product evolves, your persona will also evolve. So you should take care of make them evolve and keep the knowledge about them. If you should remember one thing from this webinar, it's this one. I will show you something I do. I have a Notion, and inside I have my personas for my product, and I keep information about them. So every time I learn something about this persona, I'm putting it in this file. So who belongs to this persona? What do they need? The things I learn from this persona, for instance, what makes them buy? What feature are they interested in? It can be many things, and where I can find them. And of course, this is the last thing I add, is the time to buy. Sometimes you have different personas and they don't buy the product at the same rate. Some of them will need a month to decide, others will buy in the week. So you should keep knowledge about this. And the idea is to have a note about each persona and to keep it updated and to make it available for all the sales team, because this will be very valuable on the long run. So keep the knowledge somewhere in a Notion or in something else. I also have a question about, sometimes people ask me, okay, so how can I define my personas? And I like to keep things simple with these 3 questions. When I define my personas, I try to think about, do they understand my product? And what type of feature do they understand better than others? Do they use or do they buy my product? Because sometimes you have a persona that use a product but they don't buy, or they understand but they don't use. And the last one is a very important question: is do they share your product? When someone is sharing your product on social networks or on a forum or on Slack or somewhere or by word of mouth, you should take care of what's going on, because this is a very important thing, that your persona is this kind of persona belongs to a persona that's very important for your business. So you should always think about these three questions when you define a persona. And of course, this is a mistake I did a lot. Look at your existing customers, and because sometimes when you look at your database and you analyze who's paying for your product, you will end up with so much knowledge that will show you which kind of people you should focus on, because you can't focus on everyone. And of course, talk with your product. Talk with your employees, your customers. They are your compass. They will tell you which features are important and what features they are going to buy and the one they are not using. So this is why I've made a product to help people target their customers. And it all started like this. It was a simple database where people could target customers according to different filters. So for instance, you can target people by industries. I will put it in English. Up. But let's say I'm interested about SaaS businesses. I want to find all the SaaS in North America, for instance, because I think that they belong to my type of customers and I want to reach them. With ProspectWith, you can do it in a few clicks. You just have to search companies. The companies will be displayed here. If you click on it, you will see some details about the company, like the revenues they are making, the monthly visitors. And I'm trying to put everything into one database that you can browse with a few clicks. Then all you have to do is to click on the button here. Okay, SaaS North America. And it will ask you if you want to find prospects. So I want to find prospects. Then you end up on this page where you can ask what kind of prospects you are interested in. So I want to find the founder and everyone who's inside the marketing area of this company, and also, let's say, the sales team. And I want only people in United States.
I got a question for you, Julien. Are you like scraping this prospect on like LinkedIn, or do you have your own database of prospect, or do you like cross several databases to get the prospect after you get the companies?
So I'm using different databases to get the prospect. I don't have any database on my hand. I'm scraping LinkedIn. I'm scraping also AngelList and other and Google search engines to find the prospect. And I'm doing it in real time, because there is something that's important when you're targeting. You want to make sure that the prospect is still working inside the company. Sometimes a prospect leaves, and you don't want to email someone who's not inside the company anymore, which makes it impossible to make sure of it if you're not scraping the data in real time. So now when I click Find Prospect, it will create a second list. So if I go on my list here, you will have your SaaS, your list of companies that you can download in one click here. And then you also have your list of prospects. So I will show you here. This one is being made, and it will look like something like this. So you'll have the professional email address, the LinkedIn URL, the full name of the prospect, the job titles, and some other information like the localization of the prospects. and also you can download it in one click. So this is all we are doing. There's also another feature that you can use if you want. If you have a file with a list of domain names or company names, you can upload it here, and it will allows you to find the prospect for these companies inside your file, which can be very valuable if you have data you got somewhere and you want to find all the founders for these companies, for this list of domain names.
Yeah, that's cool because there is like, and with Evaboot users, we notice a little bit the same thing. There is like some people that want to extract and do the first campaign, but the fact to keep your contact list updated is also a great challenge for most companies. And my question was like, is it possible like to export all my CRM? Like, okay, 10,000 companies in my CRM, put it here, and then like ProspectWith would be able to update or prospect,
Yes,
and to update that on it.
you can upload your list of domain names here and ask to find someone in the human resources of these companies or from the founder of this company, and it will give it to you. It will create a list of companies and then a list of prospects, and you will be able to download all of them.
Okay.
And you can even do it with the API if you have a technical background.
Okay. And like, what are the recommended inputs for the tool? Like, if I have a list of companies, like what are the minimum requirements in terms of data I should have?
The most important is the domain name. The second one is the name. But if you have a list of URL, like for instance, if you have a list of LinkedIn companies URL or Facebook URL, I will also be able to get the companies. But the most important thing is the domain name if you have it. But if you don't, you can target companies by name, social network URLs, and it will find them for you.
Okay. Ashley, I've asked 2 questions in the chat. First one is, does ProspectWith provide more information such as contact number and email addresses, unlike Sales Navigator? So you've shown that ProspectWith was finding email addresses. Do you have some statistics? Maybe I know like all email finders are pretty much look alike and get the same performances, but just to tell us a little bit maybe about the email finder, the efficiency.
Yes. So when you are doing a search on Sales Navigator, for instance, you don't get. You have to work on the results. What Evaboot is doing because it gets you information that's not relevant. You're asking for founders, and sometimes it gives you marketers. So you have to clean this data. And when I clean the data, I get like 60% of emails. It's not 100%, but 6% out of 10, I can find the email. And I have different ways of finding an email. We could make another webinar on it, but you can get an email by verifying by using an API that's going to verify on the SMTP server if the email exists, or checking on the internet if the email exists somewhere. You can also reconstruct emails if you have a pattern, the email pattern used by a specific company. If you know they are always using the same pattern, you can guess the email. So there are many ways of finding a mail.
Okay, cool. And like, are we able to target on technology with ProspectWith and like B2C, B2B? Because we've talked about that at the beginning, so maybe people want to see.
Yes. So let's say
other use cases.
Yeah, let's say I'm interested about finding all the Shopify companies. You can here select tools and select Shopify. And you can, for instance, let's say I want all Shopify in fashion. I can search companies, and it will give you all the fashion Shopify companies that could identify. You can even, you see if this tag is interesting for you, you can add it here. So let's say apparel. And you can, like this, find more companies and also find the prospects for these companies.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's interesting, guys, because like we said before, Sales Navigator is really bad at technology-based targeting. So if you want to use technology as a starting point for prospecting, you definitely want to maybe try other tools for that. We have more questions on the chat. So how accurate is the contact information for ProspectWith? So I mean the verified email, I guess. The percentage of verified email, percentage of bounce, maybe.
It depends of the industry, but I try to put it below 10%. The bounce rate is usually between 3 and 8%.
Okay.
It depends on the industry.
And Damien is asking, what about the GDPR? Is ProspectWith GDPR compliant?
Yes, so it's very interesting because if you want to, it's of course it's GDPR compliant because I only give you business emails. I will never give you personal emails. If you want to respect GDPR, you have to follow three rules. Okay, so the first rule is like you must sell to people who will be interested by your product. You can't sell, for instance, a TV to blind people. There must be your product must be relevant to the people you are sending an email to. So this is the first rule. The second rule is you must add an unsubscribe link somewhere, or put a sentence that will allow people to move on from your loop of emails. So they should be able to unsubscribe from one way or another by replying to the email or by clicking somewhere on a link. And the third rule is like you must always send to professional emails. You can't send a prospecting emails to a personal email address because it's not allowed. Except if you are working in a recruiting agencies and you are recruiting people. If you're a headhunter, you can send an email to a personal email addresses. But so this is my answer about GDPR.
Okay, cool. Damien, if you're happy with the answer, say it in the chat. If you want more details, yeah, tell us in the chat as well. Ashley is asking more questions. They're asking, can I use ProspectWith to search for company employees in specific roles worldwide? For example, training manager or HR managers. Like, I think he's asking, like, can you start from a lead search with ProspectWith, or are you compelled to start with account search?
You can't start with the prospects. You must target companies first, and then you must ask the prospect for this list of companies. If that's the question.
Yeah, that was the question. Ashley, tell us if this is the right answer for you. But actually, I think this is really a good practice to start by companies, and then try to find decision makers or your ICP in these companies, because when you do mass lead search like you can do on Sales Navigator, that's where you make mistakes and you target the wrong people, and you target people that are absolutely not in your target. So the fact that ProspectWith like force you to do that is not a bad thing, actually, I think, because on Sales Navigator the best practice is also to first build an account list and then build a lead search starting from there. We get another question from Summit. So will it be possible for us to extract company results depending on targeted group? I guess, yeah, you're totally able to export like the company list into a CSV as you showed before. Okay, cool. So when we talk about all the advantages of ProspectWith in front of Sales Navigator, but do you see like some areas where Sales Navigator is better? Like, for example, in the number maybe of companies you got in your database. What is this number? Like, do you see some areas like ProspectWith still got some limitation compared to Sales Navigator?
Yes. So if you are trying to start with the prospect with job title, for instance, you must choose Sales Navigator. Let's say you don't care about the companies, you want all the HR people. With Sales Navigator, you can get them. With my product, you have to start with the company. So this is one way, one disadvantage. Another one that's interesting with the Sales Navigator is like you can find the network connection you have with the people. Is it a first degree connection? Is it a second degree connection? Do you have someone in common that you can reach to get an introduction? So this is a very powerful feature I don't have, and you should always use it because when you can have a referral or an introduction from someone else, you will have more chances to end up on a call or a demo. I mean, there are many advantages of using. I don't have a Sales Navigator team account, so I don't know everything you can do with a Sales Navigator team account. But you should probably, and you should always also subscribe to the YouTube channel of Eva Boot, because
Yeah.
it means a lot to stay up to date with LinkedIn.
Thanks for the referral, Julien. I hope I get many subscribers after that. We get more questions. Could ProspectWith replace Sales Navigator? I think you just answered there. Like, I think like ProspectWith reply to many Sales Navigator drawbacks, but like Julien said, if you want to start with a lead search, you can't with ProspectWith. You got to start with an account search, and then you can see if the prospect is already connected to your LinkedIn account or not. So I guess for that you will have to use the CRM and to keep track of all your interaction of your prospect with your CRM. That could replace your LinkedIn account, because your CRM could detect that, okay, this prospect is already in my CRM. So you could totally work that way.
Your CRM is your single source of truth. You should have a CRM, because as your company is growing, and I see that a lot, you want to avoid duplicated contacts or to reach to someone you already reached in the past. So you should have a CRM as soon as possible and to keep it updated as much as you can.
Okay. We have more questions here. So does it scrape cloud providers as tech stack? Cloud providers as tech stack, like servers, is this a technology you get with ProspectWith?
I don't have cloud providers. I can add it, but I don't have them right now.
So Stéphane, send a feature request to the chat on ProspectWith. Alain, is it possible to make research based on the number of employees of a company?
Yes, you can do this. It's the same filter than on LinkedIn, by the way.
Okay, so like 1, 11, 1150.
Yes.
Okay. So Frank, I sell exclusively to CPA firms in the US. Is your list going to be effective for this specific niche market? Actually, I don't know what is CPA. Do you know, Julien?
I don't see the question.
See in the question tab. Maybe Frank, if you give more details on what is a CPA firm, because I don't know. Sorry. Okay. Accounting firms.
I think you should try to make a search on the search engine and see if you have many companies that belongs to your filter. If I can give you many companies, I will be able to find. It will be effective for your niche. If I don't have many companies, it will not be.
Yeah. Actually, the best way I think to answer all your question is to maybe try the tool directly. I don't know, like what is the free trial limitation you get on ProspectWith, like to try a little bit to see what you can do with the tool?
With a free account, you can search companies, but you will be able to export only 50 companies per list, and you will be able to get only 10 prospects per list. but you will be able to use also you will be able to see how many companies I have for each filter, even if you're on a free account. So you can check if if the product is a good fit before paying. And also I only have one paid plan, which is 95 per month, and it will be unlimited. You can get 100,000 leads per month with it.
Okay, so this is like unlimited extraction and unlimited access to the API too?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, cool, Frank. I have signed up for a free account. Only about 1,500 company meet criteria based on filters. No contact yet. It is searching. So yeah,
Yes,
keep us.
it takes a few hours to get the prospects because my machine is getting them to make sure everyone is working inside the company. It's not instant for the prospect.
Okay, so I guess it's the time to extract all the data from all the
Yes.
different sources. Okay. So yeah, we almost reached the end of the webinar. Before leaving you and continue to ask your question, we wanted to show you a way to like combine ProspectWith and Sales Navigator. Like Julien said, for example, you can detect if a company, if someone is already connected to your profile, or maybe you want to have access to the Sales Navigator filters for the ProspectWith the companies you have found with ProspectWith. And if you have a Sales Navigator team account, you can totally do that. So I will show you an example now. I will share my screen to you. So the use case is this one. Like you have a list of companies you get from ProspectWith, but you want to have access to the Sales Navigator lead search. So what you can do is download the file, like put it into a Google Sheet like this, and only keep these three columns: the name, the domain, and the LinkedIn URL. You download this file as a CSV. Here, so download CSV, yeah, here, and then you go to Sales Navigator, and then you got to have the Sales Navigator team account to access this feature, which is really, really useful. So you can upload account from CSV if you got like this data, so LinkedIn URL, website, and the name. So the great thing is that ProspectWith is providing all this data. So you can just drag and drop this into Sales Navigator, account, so name, LinkedIn URL, website, yeah, ProspectWith test, just name, and it will create an account list just like this. So you don't have to like go into the account search and enter keywords, etc. You already have your account list made from the external source, and then you see that I have 99 companies in this file. First row is a header. Obviously, we have the LinkedIn URL, so it's really easy for LinkedIn to find the company. And you see that I have here my CSV import, which I have already made before the webinar, and LinkedIn find all the companies here. So all the companies I found with ProspectWith, I can upload them on Sales Navigator, and then I go to lead search, custom lists, ProspectWith here, and here I get all the employees that work in the company I found with ProspectWith. And then I can select this famous here filters to filter out all the people that are already connected to. And I can also add some lead filters like title, like spotlight, maybe someone change job, mention in the news, post on LinkedIn if I want to launch a campaign on people that recently posted something. Leads that follow your company on LinkedIn, share experience with you. Geography as well, if you want to target a specific country. Company headcount, you already have the company information, so this is not necessary. And you can also add function and industry, but I do not recommend to use this filter. I think give a really random result. And once you get that, you can extract the search with Airboot to get that into a CSV if you want to. So that's a way If you like prospect with data, but you want Sales Navigator feature, that's a way to have both, the best of the both worlds. Let me know in the chat if some of you have some Sales Navigator team account, but this is a really nice feature if you have like an external source of data for accounts like ProspectWith and you want the feature of Sales Navigator to find it. Okay, Ashley just want the replays. So I think we're pretty much done here, guys. If you have some questions, please ask them in the chat. Maybe Julien, you have maybe some announcement for the future of ProspectWith on the roadmap, new features.
Yes, I'm trying to make the list dynamic, which means that your list of companies will be dynamic. You will be able to, when I find new companies that match with your filter, I will add them to your list and find the right prospects and synchronize everything with your CRM or your emailing software. This is what I'm trying to build with ProspectWith. I will not do more than that because it takes a long time and I want to focus on the data, which is important part of this company. But this is the next feature that will be released next week.
Okay, cool. And you mean that it's pretty similar to safe search on Sales Navigator, like when they get updated every week with like new leads are matching your criteria, stuff like that?
Yes. So it will automate your lead generation.
Okay, cool. And those leads could be like automatically sent to a CRM or like I don't know, a sender tool like Lemlist.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Matthew is asking if you are working from the jungle. Yeah, there was pretty much a jungle atmosphere. I was saying that to Julien just right before the webinar.
And yes, for the second question, ProspectWith can be linked with Pipedrive starting next week, and also HubSpot. So I will add new integration on a weekly basis, my goal is to automate lead generation and allow people to connect with the tools they use.
So for Postman can be linked with. Okay, so Ashley seems happy with your answer. So okay, so after that, so focus on CRM synchronization, lead automation, and then getting more data. Like, what do you think you can add in terms of data? Do you plan to add like event data to ProspectWith, like like some alerts? There is like there's more and more of that on the market to say like, oh, okay, this company just raised fund, contact them now. They just done that, contact them now. They are recruiting. They just put a post on the job board, contact them now. Are you planning to do that, or are you staying on the static data part?
Yes, it will be interesting to have signals when when a company is doing specific thing, like especially hiring people. I think it's one of the most important filters. People ask me a lot, but it's hard to build, and for the time being, I don't have this filter. But yes, you will be able to get. I'm trying to make the list dynamic, so it will answer this part, but we can do better by getting notified somewhere that specific signal happened.
Okay, cool. It's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. If you want to follow ProspectWith activities and roadmap, you can send an email to Julien or go to the chat on the website. And I would share my screen again to. There is a new question. So the cost of ProspectWith is $95 per month for 1,500 leads.
100,000. 100,000. That's one.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's.
Yeah. So much more than that.
Yes.
Quantity is not.
Yes.
Not a problem. Okay. Cool. Oh, Ashley is impressed with that. Okay. So yeah, if you want to contact Julien, you got his email right there. For the next part, next week, same time next week, we got another webinar with Kevin Fraisse, with a French growth hacker, and we're gonna show you how to get more than 40% reply rate on your sequences using inbound prospecting. So basically, inbound prospecting is the fact to create content, have an interaction like an ebook, a newsletter, a subscription, etc., and then send a cold email or LinkedIn outreach tool to the person. So if you're interested, I will put you the link of this event in the chat. And Ashley is really active.
Yes, it's not. I provide a lot of leads right now, but I'm trying to make it as quality as possible. So I'm improving the product a lot. So I need to have users that are requesting link to improve things. It takes a long time to build a product that will give you quality emails.
Email is the biggest challenge right now you got? Or,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so, because it's hard to get the emails of people for everyone. And I mean, if you're using a solution like Drop Contact, they can get the emails for lots of people. And I'm trying to to improve my algorithm to get as much as possible also.
Okay. Like, because this is impossible to have a 100% rate, so people are always asking for more, I guess. Okay, so well, if you could suppress Sales Navigator, emulate Zoom Info, it would be the dream. I think if Julien overcome Zoom Info and Sales Navigator, it will be really, really rich. And I wish you that, Julien.
Yes, I will be tired also.
I don't know if merci beaucoup is like merci beaucoup. Okay, guys, thank you for everything. If you got some questions, feel free to go in the chat of ProspectWith, ask the question to Julien. If you got some question for me or Eva Boot, you can go on the chat on the website as well. And I wish you all a great day and a successful 2002 year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. See ya.